Fucking hell. Oh. Last week on Collecting Cars, a Subaru Impreza WRX STI Pro Drive with just 11,000 miles sold for over £30,000. Why? Because they're the last of a generation. Four-wheel drive, turbocharged, rally, homologation specials. Or so they were, until the new kid on the block arrived in the form of the Toyota Yaris GR, and specifically this Litchfield modified GR. That same buyer that bought the STI could have, for the same money or similar money, got a Litchfield modified GR. And in this video, I'm going to see how the new kid on the block compares to my legendary Pro Drive STI. Welcome to another Fast and Fun video. They say never meet your heroes. Well, that's normally left for legendary classic cars. But in this format, owning an Impreza STI, my modern hero is this, the Yaris GR. And I have to say, in the flesh, up close, this car looks absolutely fantastic. With its flared arches, its 18-inch lightweight alloy wheels. This one, as I say, has been modified. It's got a D-Res catback exhaust. It's got a remap by Litchfield, and it's also got a dual port blow-off valve as well. All done by Litchfield, and that brings up the standard Yaris GR power from 257 up to about 300, which puts it smash bang in the firing line with the STI from Pro Drive, which also is 300. So I've got a really good comparator. But what I want to see is, what has 17 years of technology done? Has this modern young kid on the block, can it still push? Is it better than the STI? Can it create that excitement, that buzz, that adrenaline, that fun factor that the original STI did? There's two things I want to really bring out. Firstly, its weight. This Yaris GR is light, certainly by modern day standards, coming in at 1280 kg. That's nearly 200 kilograms lighter than the Pro Drive STI you see. That's the equivalent of two of me being tugged around in the back of the Yaris GR. So with similar power but a much lighter car, that's got to really benefit the Yaris GR. But the white elephant in the room for me is this Yaris GR. It's a three-cylinder. Three-cylinder! Oh, to me a three-cylinder has memories of the smart car from the late 90s and early 2000s. That little washing machine type of engine. Can a three-cylinder really compete against something as legendary as an STI? I can't wait to find out the excitement of driving this car. First of all though, I just wanted to take you around and show you some of the features that I've spotted in this Yaris GR. This specific one then, just look at it. I think the first thing that smacks of is these sort of flared arches. And if you come up close, or look, if you look down the side, you can see how pronounced those arches are. Almost reminiscent of the sort of legendary Integrale from the 90s. And then you'll see how paperweight these wings are. They are just so lightweight. It's all about keeping that weight down. If I duck down, look at the car at the front, it's all about getting air, cooling in through the intercooler, through the radiator. You've got these here, which on many cars are always fake, but that's shoving air straight in to the front brakes. In fact, you can see that because if I just walk around this side of the car, if you look down there, you should be able to see where it's coming in from, which is there. That's the hole that the air is shoveling straight in into those rear brakes. What else at the front of the car? You've got those front fog lights that are just right on the full extremities. And it's all wrapped up with a Toyota badge. Last seen for me, the last sort of Toyota with this sort of heritage was the legendary Celica GT4 from the 90s. In fact, I owned one, a 185, ST185, with the pop-up headlights before they went to the final ST205. The side profile, people have talked about this for a long time, about that sloping rear roofline, and the roof. It's quite interesting. It's a carbon fibre roof, but I think it's actually been wrapped over the top with carbon fibre wrap, which is a bit odd, really. Rear tinted windows, and then the back of it. Love it. Look at those two big fat exhausts at the back. Absolutely fantastic. And it just look down the side, look at that rear haunch. It's just so aggressive there. As you can see, the bulge at the back. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm still not convinced why Toyota have called it the Yaris, because there's just so nothing like a Yaris at all. This spoiler that sits aiding aerodynamics on that really slopey rear window. Interestingly enough, I don't think there's a wiper. I don't know if that's been deleted or there's actually no rear wipe on the Yaris, which I find quite odd for a hatchback. If you drop further down, yeah, hunker down, there's some sort of, yeah, it's almost like these are like reminiscent of a sort of rear diffuser, but wow, look how light and flimsy this back bumper is. And then what I did find incredibly funny is this. Look at that. They can't put a partial shelf in because it'll be too heavy, so they've literally fitted a bit of light material on what can only be described as a minimalistic boot with the huge battery. I mean, for a 3-cylinder, that's a large battery there sat in the boot. And as we go around this side, this comes with the track pack, and the track pack includes lighter alloy wheels, revised suspension, front and rear limited slip diff, and Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's as well as standard. These were 18s compared to the STI 17s. Interesting enough, they're both 225 width tyres though, and the pillarless door frames there, again reminiscent of the STI as well. And then inside, it's pretty much what you'd expect. There's a price point that Toyota have had to build these by. That big bolt-on screen, more of that later. The 6-speed manual box. And I have to say, what do look like really nice GR seats. I think it was worth talking about values as well about the Yaris GR, because it's doing something that not many new cars ever do. Toyota limited the numbers, globally they limited the numbers. And that's really kept on having a strong demand with a limited supply. You can't now walk into the local Toyota dealers and get a Yaris GR unless there's cancelled orders, because they've all gone. And what that's done, it's created this demand supply problem now if you wanted a Yaris GR. So looking on Auto Trader today at values, nearly used GRs now are selling for as much as they were when new. What I really want to know though, as with all these cars, it's not about the way they look, it's about the way they drive. And I just can't wait to take this Litchfield GR Yaris out onto some of my local favourite rural roads. So what's first things like when you get in the Yaris GR? Yeah, the seats are absolutely really comfortable. They're sort of half Alcantara, half sort of leather. Yeah, people have said in previous reviews you sit a bit too high. Well, do you know what? I feel okay. I'm not going to talk about the well-publicised lack of view with regard to the left-hand side of the windscreen, because truthfully you can hardly see it because of the big display and the flipping rear view mirror, but forget that. Anyway, let's get started. It's keyless go. It's not starting because clutch has got to go in, I think. There we go. Straight away there's quite a rasp to this GR. The only difficulty is whether that's normal, because I know a lot of reviews have been that they pipe in the noise because of the lack of exhaust note. But on this, with the non-res catback exhaust, it's got a nice little, oh, it sounds nice, that does, really nice. Steering wheel, quite nice. The immediate thing I'm drawn to the steering wheel is, I don't know how many buttons are on here, but there must be 8, 9 buttons on each side. There must be, I don't know, 16, 20 buttons on the steering wheel. It's a flipping sports car, for crying out loud. Just get these buttons off. I don't want buttons on the steering wheel. Yes, I suppose the only one you could argue is cruise control. It's got cruise control. As a daily, cruise control can be quite handy, so maybe cruise control, but that's it. They've got buttons for flipping everything. I mean, so yeah, get buttons away. I've spent too long looking at these rather than flipping driving the car. Right, let's go and put it on some of my favourite B roads. Fucking hell. Oh, this is nice. Oh dear. So the first thing to know is I've turned off stop start because I don't like it. I've also disengaged lane warning assist because it's just apparently if you try to cross lines it's a bit funny at times, so I've got rid of that. Switched that off, and I've flicked on the IMT button, which gives you this auto blip functionality to see what that's like. Oh, it just goes really well. Brakes are good, really good. Can really feel them biting. I've just switched the 4-wheel drive. It's got 3 modes: standard, sport and track. And sport puts 70 to the back, and I've just flicked it into sport now to get a bit more rear traction. And it's quick without being frightening. Oh. you've got to have huge self-control. Huge self-control. Because otherwise you're going to lose your license or you're going to kill somebody. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so we're just coming out of this village. I'll just drop it down to second gear, see what this, see how it goes. So 20 miles an hour, 25, okay, 30, go. Wow. Second gear there. The auto blip function works really well. Wow. Yeah. This is a quick car. Wow. It really is hard not to be impressed. The engine is so responsive. Wow. Absolutely. This is quick. This is quick. It really is. That was so responsive. Yeah, just instantaneous. The throttle response is absolutely brilliant. The steering, I'm always concerned with modern day steering, lack of feel, etc. This feels sharp. It feels as acute. It feels as accurate and defined as almost like my Redisport. It feels so on fire. Astonishingly quick. Yeah. It doesn't blow you away, and it does feel so much more modern than something like the STI, which is so much more raw, on-off power. This isn't. It just seems it's got that pull all the way through the rev range. It doesn't stop pulling. It's got pull, torque, low down, and it just smashes right up to the rev limiter. Really, astoundingly competent. Yeah, I think I need to drive this a bit more just to make sure I've got this, because this is great. Just going to come out of the village here. The auto blip is really nice actually. So I'm just going out here. There's a few things I'd change for sure. I think that screen to me is just, well, I think it's too big, but I don't think you even need it. I'd just prefer if they've just put stuff down here and out the way, really. This is a driver's car. Only drivers, petrol heads are going to buy this car. We don't want all this fancy stuff here. It's all gimmicky and for everyday practicality, yes, but I wouldn't want it. I just don't want it. Make the steering wheel simpler and more plain. But everything else, do you know what? It is a bit of very scratchy material, but I don't care when a car drives this well. You just don't care. Just come out of this village, go over quick for overtake. I just feared that my expectations were so high. Is it going to meet those? Absolutely. Do you know what? 35k. Oh, bargain of the century. Toyota, hats off to you, because I think you've made an absolutely astonishing modern day rally homologation special. It really is. I was a little bit sceptical of a 3-cylinder, but wow, you wouldn't know. Its lightness is definitely its benefit. It's got some modern day touches, gives it less of a raw peel, more of a sophisticated modern day feel. Always think that modern day cars lack a bit of steering feel. They're all a little bit artificial. I think the steering, certainly by modern day standards, is excellent. It's direct, probably not as sharp as the old analog Renault Sports, but it's still mightily impressive, certainly for 4-wheel drive. And it's one of these cars you'll just take the long way back every day. So there we go. What an absolute wicked test drive that was. For me, thoroughly enjoyed the last few hours, and I absolutely get what everybody goes on about with regard to the Yaris GRs. Fabulous car. This one, as I say, modified by Litchfield. The exhaust note really makes that 3-cylinder raspy, popping and banging. Really would recommend that. The remap, I think, that exhaust, I think, is about just over 1,000, 1,100-ish. The remap's only about 600 and that seems massive value for money that lifts it from more hot hatch territory into proper performance territory when it gets up to that 300 brake horsepower. So both, I think, whether I would have the dual port blow off valve mod or not really depends how much you're going to use the car, and I think if it's quite heavy use on a sort of a daily basis, then I'd probably stay clear, because that psh, psh all the time would probably drive me insane. Whether black, again, is the right colour, does it show off the curves or not, I'm not sure. I quite like the white, and in fact they do a sort of a maroon burgundy type of colour as well, which seems to be quite rare. I think that looks quite a nice colour as well. But it's all about the way these cars drive, and absolutely fantastic. It reminds me so much of my Clio 182 that's been pumped up, turbocharged, widened, pumped up on steroids, and it is just a phenomenally fun car to drive. At times, the old school STI is a little bit scary, it's on boost, off boost, it's quite raw. This isn't. This is, the pull from that 3-cylinder is from huge torque all the way through to the rev line. It's just linear, it's there all the time. It's just ready to go. Through the corners, it's just that 4-wheel drive. You can adjust it with the bias between front and rear to suit that individual position at that particular time. The acceleration isn't too much for the road. There is I think a border where power is almost too much, but for that this remap to 300 horsepower, it's absolutely well within the capabilities of this Yaris on the road. And by the way, the term Yaris, forget that. This is nothing like any form of Yaris before, and I think we're looking at here, for a car not to lose money, for a Toyota not to lose money in its first 2 years, just shows you this supply and demand for this car. I genuinely can see this in years to come being a very, very desirable car. Not that it isn't now, but I think as we move into electrification, we'll look back at some absolutely iconic cars. And if you take the Rally homologation specials, the Integrales, the Escort Cosworths from the 90s, and you've got the STIs and the Evos from the 2000s, this, I think, the Yaris GR, this specific one, the modified Litchfield GR, will become join that exclusive club of rally homologation specials. Absolutely brilliant car, and do you know what? It is the epitome of my channel, fast and fun, because that is exactly how I'd explain that car to any potential buyer. Absolutely love the day, thoroughly enjoyable. I hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, if you have, please subscribe here somewhere. Please stay tuned, because there'll be another video coming up very, very soon.